location, location, location. Well, I like to think that the 3 rules for wealth creators, at least, around wealth are control, control, control. But what I like to think of is to turn that on its head and instead to think about the 3 rules of governance. And those are, for me, communication, communication, communication. So George Bernard Shaw, the Irish writer and poet who famously wrote Pygmalion, had a wonderful quote that I love on this topic, which is the single biggest illusion, the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Repeat that, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And so for me, when I think about governance, it's about communication. And it's not just about the wealth creators looking down the generations and communicating what their vision, their mission, their values are, but rather it's a multi-directional communication that takes place over the course of time. And that is a big part of what family meeting work is. That is a big part of what governance is all about. And let's face it, what is governance? It is simply a fancy word for decision making. How do we as a family make decisions together? So yes, good governance structure can help address and ameliorate all of the family dynamics issues that are going to come down the road, as long as, and this is the important part, as long as the family governance structure is not one and done. As long as it's not the family constitution that we finished it, we stick it in the drawer, it gathers dust, and we only look at it when we want to use it as a club to club somebody over the head with. But rather, it's a living, breathing document. It's a living, breathing, organic structure that gets reviewed and updated as new members join the family, as the rising generations, if you will, as they succeed into the leadership of the family. And it is a constantly reevaluated in terms of who are we as a family, what do we stand for as a family, what do we want to be, what do we want to be thought of, and what is the story that we want to tell the young ones, because of course little kids love bedtime stories and they love hearing, what's the mommy and daddy story, and so crafting that story in a way that's thoughtful and intentional and consistent. So I don't care what the story is. Grandma and Grandpa came over on a boat and started a corner store, and today it's Whole Foods where they came over and bought a couple of acres here in Napa, and now we have the biggest vineyard in the valley. Whatever the story happens to be, crafting that story intentionally and thoughtfully and telling it consistently so it becomes part of the family's core identity.